The superpower of mindfulness. I'm Vida Carlino and I'm very happy to be here talking to you about mindfulness. It's one of my favorite topics. I've been on a mindful journey for many years. That is why I now help busy professionals achieve conscious success by merging ancient wisdom with contemporary techniques. I'm the author of my power statement, founder of Inspiration Source, and a conscious game changer, and would encourage you all to be conscious game changers. I guide retreats, workshops, circles, and coaching programs so you can experience the power of ancient wisdom, deep connection, and true clarity. So you can show up as the person, man, woman, partner, leader, lover you aspire to be. And we are starting off with what is mindfulness. We're not just going to be talking about mindfulness for the next 20 minutes or so. We're also going to be doing some exercises on mindfulness. It is such a buzzword, mindfulness, and it's a buzzword because it is so powerful. So what do you think mindfulness is? Mindfulness is when we deliberately, with awareness, practice observing what the mind is doing without judgment and in the present moment. Meaning we pay attention to our thoughts and feelings without judging them, without labeling them right or wrong, good or bad, positive or negative. These thoughts are engaged in the present moment, not in the past and not in the future, but right here, right now. A simpler version is deliberately paying attention to the present moment, non-judgmentally. It's our ability to know what is going on in our head without getting too hooked up on it. And it trains our brain to be present. And as you can see, there's 3 stages. Deliberately, which is with the conscious awareness, placing attention on the moment, non-judgmentally. Non-judgmentally can be a little bit challenging for many of us. So many judgments go by under the radar, unnoticed, unconscious. For example, have a look at your morning. What did you say to yourself when you first looked in the mirror? What did you say when you first saw your schedule for the day? Or even smaller acts, when you had your first cup of tea or coffee in the morning. What did you say? Too milky, too watery, crap coffee, good coffee, too hot, too cold? Mindfulness helps us to be aware of how we unconsciously judge. And before we go any further, let's take a mindful pause. Let's have a moment to experience mindfulness. Now, this will only take a few minutes, so wherever you are, just make yourself comfortable. If you're sitting down, put your feet on the ground, straighten your spine, drop your shoulders. Just let your head gently rest on your neck, soften your jaw. We hold a lot of tension in our jaw. And now gently bring your awareness and your attention to your breath. Just notice the breath on its inhalation and the exhalation. And when the mind starts to wander, just bring it back to the breath. All our attention for this moment is on our breath. And as the mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. And now, taking a deeper breath, and if your eyes are closed, opening your eyes and coming back to the room. Now, did you notice a different state in yourself before you practiced a mindful pause to how you feel right now in this moment? Did you stay with your breath or did your mind wander? And if it did wander, what did you make it mean? How easy was it for you to focus on your breath? This simple practice of mindful pause will begin to tame your brain and change how your mind functions. It will help you to become the observer of your thoughts rather than a slave to them. You know, we live in a very remarkable time. The world has never been as it is today. The online world, which once lived on our desktops, static, now walks with us, talks with us, goes on holidays, and shares intimate moments with us. And it is making us confused, overwhelmed, stressed, distracted, and depressed, to name a few, which drastically affects our well-being, our productivity, and our performance. That is why mindful training courses are becoming the norm in large corporations and big cities around the world. It's the new must-have. Google, Target, Apple, Facebook, KPMG, Sony, Twitter, Oprah, world athletes, sports stars, actors use mindfulness tools to improve their physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-beings, to build more awareness and ability to focus so they can consciously succeed in their endeavors. Mindfulness is the new must-have. But unfortunately, our ability to focus in the moment or on the job is diminishing. 46.9% of the time, we are not paying attention to what we are doing, according to the latest research. Nearly half the time, we are either in the past, in the future, or being distracted, multitasking, acting ineffectively, overwhelmed, stressed out, confused, complaining, redoing the same tasks. Almost half of the time, we are anywhere but here. And most of this wandering is done without our awareness. So let's just have a little practice of experiencing our wandering brain. And that's a very simple exercise. It's going to bring you, what I want you to do is to choose something in the room, an object or something that you can focus on. It doesn't have to have any meaning, just something that you can focus your attention on. Okay, got it? Okay, now just bring your awareness to what it is that you have chosen to focus on. And for 30 seconds, we're going to focus on that object. Okay, so how was that for you? How long could you stay focused? Did your mind wander again? Imagine how different relationships, communications, work environments, and productivity would be if we all could focus. Mindfulness practices expands our awareness of our wandering mind and builds our superpower so we can deliberately focus on what we choose to focus on. We're not hardwired. All your thoughts, emotions, experiences have led you to where you are today and will lead you to your tomorrow. Each single moment is defining the next, and these tiny moments are determining your future, informing you, defining your habits. We have around 80,000 to 100,000 thoughts a day, and most of these thoughts are the same thoughts we had yesterday, and many of them can be labelled as negative. A mind is naturally wired to judge, to criticise and compare. It is great at pointing out what we're not good at or what we did wrong. Why? Because we have been programmed to be on the lookout for danger. Be prepared for the worst. Imagine if Homo sapiens 100,000 years ago walked around the jungle being positive and trusting the universe will provide, without being aware of the lurking dangers. This Homo sapien would have ended up as somebody's lunch. But luckily, we are not hardwired. Neuroscience has proven that our brain is not rigid, it has plasticity, the ability to change its form and function, and create new connections and rewire itself depending on how we use it. For example, let's have a think about the morning traffic, something that's simple that we all experience. So imagine you're driving along, a little pressed for time, and someone pulls out in front of you, or there's a traffic jam, or someone annoys you in some way. And you become annoyed, and you get hooked into the thought that I am annoyed. Your heart starts to race, your body temperature increases, and the tension builds. You may even start to scream obscenities. And all of this is without your awareness. It is an automatic response to a stimuli. In the same situation with a bit of mindfulness, you notice, I'm getting annoyed. You notice what is happening in your physical body. You may experience the symptoms of annoyance and the awareness to choose not to act on those symptoms. So let's try another little exercise. I know before we do, the superpower of mindfulness is the ability to choose how we respond. The ability to choose how we respond. So let's create a bit of a gap and feel mindfulness from a different perspective. So this time, like the traffic incident, I want you to think of something that is a little bit unpleasant, or maybe a quality you don't desire so much. So like, I feel annoyed, I feel angry, I feel pissed with somebody, I'm not good enough. For example, I'm going to use is I feel angry. So what we're going to do is we're going to try on that thought, whatever thought you've chosen, and just notice how it makes you feel, just for a few seconds. Okay, so I'm trying on the thought, I feel angry. Notice how it makes me, I'm noticing how it makes me feel. Now you try on your thought. Notice how it makes you feel. Now, put the phrase before the thought. I am having the thought that I'm feeling angry. I am having the thought that, and notice what happens. Now, put this phrase in front. I notice I am having the thought that I'm angry. Now you try it on. I notice I'm having the thought that. Notice what happens. Most people have a sense of distance and separation, a gap, a feeling of mindfulness. Our thoughts are just thoughts, and they have no meaning except the meaning we give them. When we witness our thinking and realize that we are not our thinking, we create a gap between our thoughts and ourselves. And the reactional impact of the thought is diminished. This is really powerful. The reactional impact of the thought is diminished when we create a gap between our thought and ourselves. We are not our thinking. The mind is just a muscle, and the more you exercise it, the stronger it gets, and the more it can expand, just like any other muscle. You know, when practicing mindfulness, and it doesn't matter what stage you're at, this happens from time to time, it's really important to practice with compassionate awareness. I mean, it is easy to let that judger come in and condemn, well, I'm not doing a good meditation this morning, or I'm not doing this or that. So, practice compassionate awareness for yourself and definitely for everybody else. Now, I'd like to bust a few myths on mindfulness while we're here. Mindfulness is meditation. No, it is not. Mindfulness is a training ground for, meditation is a training ground for mindfulness. It is a precise technique for resting the mind and attaining a state of consciousness that is totally different from our normal waking state. We can mindfully eat an apple without the benefit of meditation practice. However, a meditation practice enhances our capacity to be mindful. The Guru: we do not need to be in a deep mindful state continuously. Even the great sages have struggled with that one. Nor do we have to meditate for hours a day or sit in lotus. We can meditate however we choose, standing, lying, walking, and for as long or as little as we choose. It's not in the breath. There is no particular breath technique in mindfulness. Conscious breathing is grounding and helps us to move into a more mindful state. But there is no particular technique. Blank canvas. The mind is not a blank canvas, and trying to cultivate this state consistently will create stress. We have moments of a blank canvas, and then thoughts come and go. And then thoughts come and go. Peace, love, and brown rice. Mindfulness is not extreme. It doesn't require us to move to the forest, sit cross-legged, chanting Om, and greeting everyone with Namaste. Although that does sound quite nice. Mindfulness takes a long time. No, it does not. The human mind is an amazing instrument when it responds very quickly to positive behavioral changes. Even 3 minutes of mindfulness practice, whether that be deep breathing or journaling, gratitude, sitting in nature, mindful pause, even just doing that a few times a week will start to move your nervous system into a more parasympathetic state and rewire neural pathways in your brain. Now, find a practice of mindfulness that works for you. You're individual, and so is your practice. It is those who concentrate on but one thing at a time who advance in this world. So it's been said, and it makes a lot of sense. Benefits and proof. There are so many benefits to mindfulness and meditation. There is so much proof. I think there's something like 2,000 research projects being conducted this very moment on the benefits of mindfulness and meditation. The benefits include things like reducing stress and absenteeisms in the workplace. It improves memory, focus, enhances insight, increases cognitive flexibility, improves decision-making, mental clarity, emotional resilience, develops better leaders, productivity, and generates a more creative workplace with more imaginative solutions, increases grey matter in your brain, creates better listeners, makes us happier, and gives us more choices. It also boosts our immune system, slows down aging, manages pain, improves sleep, reduces anxiety, stress, and depression, which are in epidemic proportions, and it gives us superpowers. Mindfulness is profound, and in my experience, it makes us better people. There are many benefits. Our brains are complex, and 90% of activity is beyond our consciousness. It's in our unawareness. Neuroplasticity says our brain is constantly being reshaped by our experiences and our thoughts, and the parts of the brain we use the most become the strongest. Makes sense. So the more we experience stress, confusion, overwhelm, burnout, the better skilled we are at experiencing those things, and more entrenched they become in our brain. The same works in reverse. The more aware, conscious, happy, focused, calm, the more skilled we become in those areas, and the more entrenched it becomes in our brain. If you want to have a strong, healthy, powerful body, you change your diet, you change your exercise, you change your mindset. If you want to have a superpower, you reshape and exercise your mind through mindful practices. You can't think yourself to mindfulness. It's experiential. Mindfulness is the aware, balanced acceptance of the present experience. It isn't more complicated than that. It is opening to or receiving the present moment, pleasant or unpleasant, just as it is, without either clinging to it or rejecting it. You know, in our Western society, we are so used to turning outward for fixes, solutions, and advice. We trust the skills and expertise and the wisdom of others to the expense of our own innate knowing and wisdom. I'm not here to tell you what mindfulness practices will work for you. It is up to you to consciously and deliberately choose. But I will share a couple of practices that work for me. And we have been through a few. A mindful pause, focused attention, labeling your thoughts so you create the distance between the thought and the self. I notice I am thinking. Body scanning is a great technique. Now, this is usually done with a facilitator, but you can do it yourself. And the facilitator brings attention and awareness to different parts of the body, normally starting with the feet and going to the head, or starting with the head and going to the feet. John Kabat-Zinn, founder of the Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction Clinic, has a great 30-minute body scan on YouTube. He is also recognized as the man that brought meditation to the Western world. It's extraordinary. He has many meditations online. Practice focusing your attention as we deal. Spend time being aware of your breath, and if your mind is really active, just count your breath. Practice noticing what you're thinking. And in my book, My Power Statement, there are many mindful practices that you can practice with. And if you do have the book, I also have an online workbook, which I can send you if anyone wants a copy of that to practice their mindfulness exercises in. You know, meditation, of course, is to me an essential. It's like exercise. It's just exercise for the spirit and the mind. You can go join a meditation practice. You can get yourself a teacher, or you can go online and download some meditations and just start. You know, mindfulness is a practice. You can't think yourself there. The quality of our lives is determined by the quality of the functions of our minds, our body, our heart, and our spirit. And mindfulness training develops a healthy mind, capable of truly loving others, truly loving the self, and living a meaningful, deeply satisfying life aligned with our spirit. When we have greater awareness of how we think, feel, and act, we have greater choice on how we respond. And that choice is a superpower. Thank you for being here. I hope this talk on mindfulness has been of value to you all. Now, if you have any questions or you'd like to find out a little bit more about mindfulness practices, please contact me on any of these means in front of you on the screen, and I'd love to have a chat. I trust you have a beautiful day. Love, light, and joy to you all. Thank you.